Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Earthly Headlines. Today I'm going to do another episode on the southern part of India. The last episode I did on India was pretty, got a lot of hits, a lot of views, and a lot of interesting comments were left by a ton of people from all different walks of life. Really cool to see all that conversation going on and still going on. This article came to me on my laptop through, I don't know how I found it. I think someone sent it to me. Well, anyway, it revolves around these Keezhadi excavations, which is in the southern tip of India here. So this is Tamil-Nadu. I think that's how you say it. It's one of the states of India, if you don't know. And apparently there's an excavation going on here that is pushing back the dates of the Tamil-Brahmi language system. So let's go a little bit deeper into here. And so apparently the dates are pushed back about 350 years, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when you consider how contested the history is in specifically the linguistical history of India as a whole, and especially the southern tip of India. Because just a few little background, there are a lot of one of the biggest disputes is the people from the northern part of the country coming down and spreading their language and culture down to the southern part of the people down there. And a lot of people contest that even happened, or that it happened during this time. What I'm specifically talking about is the Harappan language. So they say that the people down south were speaking the Harappan language 1,500, 2,000 years ago, when really there's another contingent of people saying that there's very little evidence of that spread happening until a lot later. Another interesting bit is the people of this area. It's one of the most continuously inhabited places in the world. The theory is that people have been living here for 300,000 plus years continuously, well before the out of Africa migration theory, which again, I've done a ton of videos on that. So around the time that people were supposed to have been leaving Africa, there were already people living here. That's one of the broad views that people have of this area. So I'm saying this because it helps put everything else into context. So what happened was there are certain cultural deposits that were unearthed during these excavations at the Keezhadi site. And here's a picture of some of the excavations. I think they're in their 5th or 6th season of excavations here. And all the stuff that's presented in this article is from the 3rd and 4th season. So it's located on the banks of the Vaigai River near the southern tip of India. The site, it was an urban settlement of the Sangam Age on the banks of the river Vaigai. So the Sangam period is basically a period of ancient Tamil-Nadu history. So it spans this time period, 6th century BC to about the 1st century AD. And it's got its name because it was there are a lot of academies, a lot of poets, a lot of scholars during this time. It was, in terms of the intelligentsia at the time, it was a golden age, so to speak. So this is the time that we're talking about. And they were speaking this language, this Tamil-Brahmi script. And the Brahmi script, the Brahmi portion of the script, allegedly came from the king Ashoka, who's I think he was a Buddhist king. I'm pretty sure he was a Buddhist king. Anyway, I'm saying this from the top of my head. Supposedly he came down and spread the Brahmi script, and then within the area of Tamil Nadu, it evolved into the Tamil-Brahmi script. That's the long and short of it. I know it's a lot more complex than that, but that's just what what one side of the argument is. The other side of that argument is that the people already had their own system at the time, and they were slightly influenced by the Brahmi script, but for the most part, the integrity of their language was still intact down south in this area here. Anyway, I'm burying the lead here. So they did some radiocarbon testing and accelerator mass spectrometry dates that they sent to. They found stuff in the site. They sent it over to the United States in Florida, and then they did this testing, and they're pretty certain that the site was occupied as early as the 6th century BC, and all the potsherds, all the stuff that they found with inscriptions in this language were found in that layer. So that pushes back the advent of literacy in the region to about 6th century BC, whereas before it was the 3rd century. And the fact that just because they found it in the sediment layer does not mean that that's when the advent of the literacy was. That's just where it happened to be. That's when it fell into that sediment layer. So who knows how long like literacy was going on in the region? Because again, there was literacy going on in the northern part of India for thousands of years before this. So who's to say that there wasn't literacy down south at that time as well? And again, that's when you go into that convoluted discussion between the Harappan civilization and their influence on the south and all of these things. So one thing that I learned from the last video was there are a lot of people who think that the Aryan invasion is bunk. Other people who stick to that story. But the one undeniable thing is that the people of northern India are genetically different from the people in southern India. That's one thing that I got from all the comments and all the additional research and reading materials that I got, that I read. Which, by the way, if you guys post stuff in the comments, stuff that's too long to post in the comments, so you just leave a link, I read all of those, just to let you know. Unless they're like egregiously trollish or anything, but for the most part, it's good stuff. So they found more than 50 pieces of pottery bearing Tamil-Brahmi inscriptions, and were recovered at the site during the excavations. And again, here's another ancient brick structure found at the site, and you can see that it's all muddy and there's a lot of water around, which doesn't really help to preserve things, but it's still very interesting to see like some of the photos of the excavations. Among the stuff that they found were spindle whorls, bone-tipped tools, terracotta spheres, copper needles, pots or other vessels holding liquid. These are all tools thought to have been used to manufacture textiles. So it's very interesting that there was some sort of manufacturing going on at that time, and who knows where all those, how far-reaching across the globe those manufactured items went. One of the 6 samples collected at the depth of 353 centimeters and sent for carbon testing back in the U.S. goes back to 580 BC. I think that's one of the oldest artifacts they have. And I hope with these new seasons, they're digging deeper, because why stop at the depths of 580 BC? When if you go deeper, there's a chance that there might be more, and you know that there's been language and people coming and going through that area for so long. I mean, a lot of people think that the inhabitants of that area were there for hundreds of thousands of years, so why not dig more? Unless, of course, there's like a money or some sort of logistical issue in the way. The results from the 4th excavation suggest that the second urbanization, the first being the Indus Valley, of Vaigai Plains happened in Tamil-Nadu around 6th century BC, as it happened in the Gangetic Plains. Apparently, near the rivers Ganges, there's in that area, there was another migration of people, but that's a different article. Anyway, the point is that there have been people coming and going, and this is allegedly the second migration or the second movement of people that they can detect through archaeology. Skeletal fragments unearthed at the site were sent to Deccan College, blah blah blah. Identified them as a species such as cow. Oh yeah, so all these different fragments were just all these animals that were used for agricultural purposes and domestication purposes. So again, this goes back to that video of animal domestication originating, some of it originating in India, whereas other theories were saying that it originated in China and Turkey, and it made their way to India. But again, all that is clouded. We're not sure exactly what started where, whether everything happened concurrently. Again, that was a different video, but it's interesting to see that they find all of these animals, these domesticated animals, or animals that are used to plow fields, or or whatever it was, get milk, whatever it was used in the agricultural society for agricultural purposes. Here are some of the artifacts that they found as well from the site. These look like they've been freshly excavated. So again, 56 inscribed potsherds were recovered on the site of the excavation. Mineral analysis confirmed that water containers and cooking vessels were shaped out of locally available raw material. So again, everything was made in-house. There is nothing imported anywhere. So again, these people must have been self-sustaining for at least a few thousand years, and self-sustaining enough to where they had a golden age of the Sangam period of literature and culture and I guess their own mini enlightenment, I suppose. And all of that it doesn't come out of nowhere. They're again, if all this happened within their region and within their cultural customs for who knows how long, without any conquering second party or third party, then that would be amazing. But it seems like there's a lot of again arguments regarding that. So here's a closer look on what the Sangam period would have looked like. Again, this western part of the southern tip to the modern day is no longer part of the Tamil-Nadu state. This is another state here, but still there's a lot going on. There's a lot of rivers and a lot of water connecting most of this region. One thing that's interesting is, again, in about 2,000-year-old temple of some sort or tomb was found in one of the islands here. I forget the name of the island. Tiruchirappalli, I think this is the place. Yeah. Again, it's at the confluence of these two rivers I can't remember the name of, and they found a tomb or a temple there that the excavations have stopped on it because of religious reasons, but apparently it was a temple, and then one of the Muslim warlords came down and laid waste to it. But then there was still some stuff left, and they excavated that stuff and found the tomb of one of the, I guess I forget his name, but he was like an enlightened, very significant figure in their culture at the time. And out of respect, they stopped the excavations once they found out it was his tomb. But yeah, this whole area, the whole point is that there's a lot of old stuff that is still yet to be excavated here. And if you are a young aspiring archaeologist with backing, this would be a great place to look for clues to our ancient past, because it does seem like you have all the ingredients there. You have a language system there that is, although contested, very it's been there for thousands of years. You've had more or less the same genetics here for thousands and thousands of years. So a lot of that indicates that, well, if there are a lot of people in one spot continuously for hundreds of thousands of years, you're bound to find something that's very, very old. So again, and then there's a lot of places that are suitable for ancient people to live. There's a lot of water and domestication was going on, and agriculture. And even before that, people were subsisting somehow. And then on top of that, you have biblical and whether it's in the Bible or the Vedas, all these ancient scripture that talk about this area. And it's been a hotbed of underwater archaeology. They found what was once the biblical city or the ancient city of Dwarka. That was legendary until recently. They found it off the coastline. I think it's on the western coast of India, somewhere around here. And then there's other heavily rumored hotspots of, you see, battlements and other parts of some architectural structures that they can see through the water, and it's not that deep. So again, you have all of these clues around this one small region of India. And again, it would behoove some of these archaeologists to keep looking around here, although there are some. Yeah, so anyway, that's about it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about all the different language systems that about Tamil-Brahmi, or the Proto-Vatalutu script, which is again an indigenous common source at the time of in that southern tip of India area, the Tamil-Nadu area. You know, keep it clean in the comments. You guys don't have to go after each other. It's just a very interesting discussion, because it seems like there's so much going on. There's so many points of view, and it's kind of fun, but really frustrating sometimes to get to the truth of what happened, just to separate the wheat from the chaff of all this information. But this is the newest information that has come out. I don't know how exactly it figures into the conversation. I'm just reporting it. But if you guys have any additional information, any links, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys later.